Okay, gang, I sure hope you watched Fabulous Friday because we had Patricia Lenti Crane on. And I'm telling you what, she's coveted in our whole DDPY family. She's one of us in the 55 plus community too. But today being Mindset Monday, I begged Patricia to do this one for you too, because her journey has been pretty amazing. Has it not, Patricia? Just even recently, right?
Absolutely.
So I'm going to put something on the screen and Patricia's going to explain her latest journey and take away a few more excuses right here. Tell us about this, Patricia.
Well, it started on August 6th at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I was not paying attention, live in a 2-story home, and I'm rushing down the stairs because I'm going out to meet friends for dinner. And I tripped down the last 3 stairs and fell on both knees. Tried to get up, not going to work. Finally, I squished myself over to the phone and called 911 and got to the emergency room, and I fractured my femur.
Jeez.
2 doctors there. One doctor said, we need to operate. The other one said, let's wait 10 weeks and see if the knee will knit itself. And I looked at both of them. And Pam, you know how my attitude comes through sometimes. And I said, see this titanium knee? The only doctor touching this knee is the one who put it in. And it's neither one of you. We're going to wait the 10 weeks. We can always do surgery on the 11th week. So that set that. So I was 4 days in the hospital. And then on August 10th, went to a rehab facility. Now, the first night I said, I'm just going to do this with a leave. I don't need any pain pills. I'm not a pill person. I don't take any medications. Well, that was stupid of me because the pain was excruciating. So I said, okay, I'll take a pain pill. And I'm going to share this with you too. It was tramadol, the oxys, morphine, the whole scale. So I took the lightest one. And I think on day 2 or 3, and it just shows you where medicine is today. I hadn't been involved in hospitals since I did my last knee replacement 11 years ago. I'm on the tramadol every 6 hours. So I rang and I said, may I have my pill? And the nurse came in. And by the way, the staff at the hospital was amazing. They're understaffed like so many places are today, and it's not their fault. But she came in and she said, well, Patricia, I can only give you the tramadol every 6 hours, and it's only been 5 hours. And she looks at my chart and she goes, but would you like a shot of morphine? No. I burst out laughing. They couldn't give me the tramadol an hour earlier, but I could get, so that's following the letter of the law. Go back to this. And the reason I mention this is when I went to the rehab on October 10th, I took my last pain pill on August 14th. And they were shocked at the rehab facility that I was off all pain pills. We started to do a physical therapy workout, and the physical therapist is evaluating. And she said, my God, your strength is amazing, especially your upper body strength. Meanwhile, you can see the picture of my leg. I'm in a Velcro cast, completely immobile, 24 hours a day from my ankle to my groin. But she says, how are you so strong? And I said, well, I do DDPY 4 times a week. And she said, what's that? And I told her. And she said, well, your upper body strength is amazing. And I said, well, I hold a 2-minute plank. And she said, I can't hold a 2-minute plank. How do you hold a 2-minute plank? I said, you hold a 10-second plank and a 20-second plank and a 30-second and a 50, and eventually you will hold a 2-minute plank. And the reason I'm inserting this now is because my goal when I got back to working out at the PC was to get back to my 2-minute plank. I saw my regular orthopedic surgeon finally, after 6 weeks. The first 6 weeks were spent from a bed to a wheelchair. Pam, I could have run so many wheelchair races. You should have seen me with one foot and one arm going outside into the gardens at the rehab facility and here and there and into the dining room. I mean, I was not going to be held down. I was doing my bed exercises. DDP starts and meets you where you are.
So true.
And the exercises were simple things like just, wiggling your toes and, trying to move your upper body and your strength. And it's everything that we do all the time. And sometimes we're not even aware that we're doing it. I saw the doctor after 6 weeks, and he said that my progress was amazing and that I could begin to toe touch. Couldn't be weight bearing, but I could toe touch. Well, that was like, taking the shackles off me, because that meant I could go to a walker. I had to hop. So that's where the upper body strength came into play again, because I was hopping around on a walker, going outside and going here and there and all around the facility. And because I had been freed by being on the walker. I was in the rehab facility for 22 days.
Wow.
And then had to go to assisted living. And I was in assisted living for a month.
Wow.
The issue is I had to be able to climb stairs because I live in a 2-story home. And again, a great physical therapist started the first evaluation, and they were constantly amazed. But I was doing my physical therapy exercises every single day. And the therapists were saying, most people don't. They only do it with the physical therapist. And I said, well, if you see the therapist 3 times a week and you don't do anything 4 times a week, how do you ever get ahead? You've got to do it every day. So we started from the walker. And within 2 weeks, I got to a cane. Now you want to talk about real freedom. There was no stopping me at that point. Friends were coming in. We were going out to lunch. We were here or there. And I actually got to my home on October 15th. So from August 6th to October 15th, I hadn't stepped foot in my home. Thank God for great neighbors and friends. The other interesting thing was I got to see a whole different perspective. Having been in an assisted living facility for a month, you see people who really are ill, and it puts everything in perspective for you. I mean, it really, truly does. I had a fractured femur. The rest of my body was just fine. Thank you very much. And it makes you appreciate. But the other thing I had to learn was to slow down. Things happen when I'm in a hurry and I'm not paying attention, or I'm trying to do 2 or 3 things at once. Doesn't everybody do 2 or 3 things at once? The answer is no.
But
the other thing,
have that same disorder you have, Patricia. I think that's connects so much.
The other thing I had to learn to do, when you're young and you learn to walk and they tell you to head up, back straight, forward. Yes, good posture is important, but your eyes need to be in front of your feet so you can see what you're going to trip over, folks. Yeah, I had to learn how to walk again.
Wow.
Great posture, but not my eyes up ahead, my eyes in front of my feet. I had physical therapy at home for 3 weeks, 3 days a week. And then they said, okay, you can see your doctor and he can recommend more physical therapy, but you'll go to a physical therapy center. And I decided at that point, everything that I was doing was so similar to our own program that I went to the PC and said, I'm going to see how I do just with DDP. I'm fortunate enough to be in Atlanta, and I am honored to be one of 4 people that work out 3 times a week with Ted and Keith and Stacy, and Mike Lackey leads us. So I said, I'm going to see how I do without the physical therapy, doing DDP and the physical therapy at home. I have to tell you, everyone, 2 weeks ago, I was back at my 2-minute plank. And last week, I made an all-time high of a 2.5-minute plank.
Oh, you make me want to cry, Patricia. I'll tell you what, the warrior in you is mighty. And it wasn't going to be held down by some care facility, was it?
No. You know, there's no do-overs, Pam.
Right.
So grab it and make the most of it. And as Dallas says, our mind controls who we are, what we are, and what we do. And if we think we're good or we think we're bad, we're right. So make the right choices in all but the little things. It's the little, simple, everyday things. Now, I keep a cane nearby. If I'm at a party or a big event where there's going to be a lot of people, I'll keep the cane just to get space for myself, if you will. But I'm basically walking without the cane now completely. And excited about the recovery. Where they said I would be, in 10 to 12 weeks, I was in 6 weeks. So, but again, it's the overall strength that DDP gave me. I mean, everyone that evaluated was amazed, and I told them all they needed to be at the program. And I brought 2 of the executives from the rehab facility to one of Dallas's sessions so they could see what it was all about, and got them set up on the app.
Oh, my word. Oh, my word. Well, I can't help but ask this, Patricia, because there could be somebody watching this right now that's actually sitting in a really bad spot, not having the rehab work right for them. They fell, they hurt themselves. What did you say to yourself at the moments, like when you were in the rehab center, you're surrounded by, I don't mean this to sound bad, but a lot of negative.
Oh, yeah.
What did you tell yourself when you were surrounded by all the obstacles? How did you set your mind away from what was going on in the reality of your bedridden time?
I've been through worse.
Really? That's what you told yourself?
I'm a 21-year cancer survivor.
Oh, that's right. Oh.
So, a fractured femur, breast cancer. Let's put these things in order, Patricia. I'm really going to digress now, but when I was born, I wasn't supposed to live. My mom went from 92 pounds to 212 pounds with toxemia. And they took me from her at 6.5 months, and I was 3 pounds and 4 ounces. And the doctor said to my father, "Do you want your wife or the baby?" And my father said, as I would expect my husband to have said, "Give me my wife, I can make another baby." I was in a hospital for 3 months. And my mother always told me I wasn't supposed to be alive, and that I was special, and there was something I was supposed to do, and that I was strong, and that I was a fighter from the minute I was in her womb. And she told me that all the time. You're a fighter. There's nothing you can't do. And there are other instances like that throughout my life where, and the angels in my life, Pam, and you have an angel, but strength comes from within. And we all have it. You just have to find it. I don't know if that makes sense. It's a long digression of a story, but
yeah, but there's a whole story there too, because some here didn't have a parent that believed in them. I was like you, Patricia. My parents both told me that all the good things, right? So I hear those. but there's also those that have been raised up in it and a bad situation, and they just need to seek the right people like you're talking about. There's so many in our DDPY family that encourage one another. I mean, they're in a safe place now, are they not, to find
Absolutely. There's an anecdote out, and I'm sure you've seen it. I know I've posted it, about the father who gives his daughter a car when she graduates that he had bought years ago. And he says, take this to a car dealer if you want to sell it. And she does. And he comes back and she says, what did they offer you for it? And he said, oh, they offered me $5,000 because it's an old car. Well, go somewhere else. And so she does. And they said, well, they offered her $7,000. And then he asks her to go to an antique car show and bring the car. And they offered her $150,000 for the car. And the moral of the story is, go where people see your worth.
Okay, this will go down, I'm serious, as one of my favorite Mindset Mondays we've had in the 55 plus thing, because the wisdom, Patricia, that you have, and you just imparted to all of us, you have removed every excuse we have. Physical problems, sure. Mental problems, sure. But every one of those, you have proven to us, you have found your way out of every situation. And I can't thank you enough. I have to have you back on another time at another date.
I would love to, Pam, in whatever I can do for this community. It's my family. Exactly. And I can't encourage everyone to just trust in yourself. Yeah. I wish there was a magic pill you could take. There isn't. But look for the joy when you get up in the morning, the fact that you have another day, and just say, this day is what I'm going to make it. And it's a gift, and treasure it.
Exactly. This is a gift we've been given another day, right? It's just
and I used to do work with teenagers years and years ago through the church, but we would do weekend retreats. And I used to give a talk, and we started talking about it again this summer, and someone said, you need to resurrect it and find it. And I used to call it the sacrament of the present moment. Now, I wrote this 50 years ago, and I gave it with a metronome behind me. Tick, 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 tick. And I said, we get our life in seconds, not in minutes, not in hours, not in days. But you, in order to appreciate it, you must be present at that moment. And of course, today, with people on phones and multitasking, it becomes such a rarity. And if you're with people and you're not paying attention, then leave and don't be with them. If they're not worthy of your total 100% presence, then don't waste your time on it. But for God's sake, give 100% in the sacrament of the present moment. We have a group that would go to dinner, and in the very beginning, all the cell phones would go in the middle of the table. And whoever reached for the phone, now we all had, special emergency rings so that if someone could take it. Otherwise, whoever reached for the phone got the check for the table. And then it was, oh, I will have dessert. Oh, I think I'll have another glass of wine. And now you don't do it, but it was amazing. Wow. How people react. The phone has become an appendage.
Yes.
And it isn't needed to be. Right. And again, we go back to the moment, the seconds. This hour that we've spent together, Pam, has been wonderful. And this has been our total focus. And I try to live my life like that every day, with all of my attention on what I'm doing. Obviously, I wasn't doing it on August 6th when I wasn't paying attention to going down the stairs, but you should see me give attention to the stairs now.
Well, I'll tell you what, your whole recovery has been because you planted the seeds before you needed the harvest. you built a body that was ready to come back from a fight like that. So I just encourage everybody, get going with this, right? Because build the strength in case you do have that next thing to happen, right? And you'll
Well, and you're going through it right now, Pam, on the walker, and it's your upper body strength as you're hopping around because you can't be weight bearing, right?
Yep, 2 weeks ago I fell in the garage and hit the cement with my right knee in a real bad way. And yep, so I'm back at the bed and the chair exercises, but thank God DDPY meets us exactly where we are, right, Patricia?
Indeed, indeed, indeed.
Oh, well, we are going to have you back on another time. Thank you for giving us a Mindset Monday that really takes our mind to a whole new level, Patricia. You are a
Thank you, and I am honored, Pam. Thank you.
love you tons.